Today we've got someone who has built one of the strongest, most respected real estate teams in Central Texas, and someone who puts just as much effort into serving the community as he does into serving his clients. Mike Frost is the co-founder of Landy Frost Group, a team known for consistency, communication, and a relationship-driven approach that has helped thousands of people make smart real estate decisions. But what I admire most about Mike is what he does outside of his real estate production. And he is the heart behind Frosty Gives Back, which is an annual philanthropic initiative that has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support youth and families across Austin. And he's one of the rare people who proves that real estate can be a vehicle to make a real impact. Mike, thank you so much for being here, man. Let's jump in.
Oliver, thanks for having me on, man. It was very nice to meet with you and chat with you the other day, so I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's start with your story. For people who don't know you, how'd you get into real estate?
Sure. I am from the Northeast. I moved to Austin in 2005, right after college. I did not know anybody here, and so to meet some folks, I got into the bar industry, and 13 years later, ended up owning 3 bars in Austin on 6th Street. And so, I got into be in my mid-30s, and my lifestyle had changed, and I had seen that industry changing, and so I sold my bars in 2016 and 2017, and with zero hesitation, jumped into real estate kind of with both feet, and was very fortunate to have my bar network follow me, but that's kind of how I got my start in real estate, with having this big network from the bar industry. And then, started from scratch at 33 years old, and in a very short period of time, we've been very fortunate to have an incredible team, partners, and now we have the Landy Frost Group, and we're over at Compass. So I've been doing this for about a little over 8 years.
So looking at those early days, at what point did it click for you and say, okay, maybe this just isn't a job. Maybe I could build a real career doing this in the real estate industry. Any early stories like that?
Sure. I did. There was no backup plan. When I sold the bars, I was not going back to that lifestyle or that industry, and so it was sink or swim, and was going to do whatever it took. So it was incredibly challenging for me. I would say it was one of the most humble times in my life to go from 3 salaries, distributions, to chasing lease leads. I did it with zero ego, and whatever my mentor told me, who's now my business partner, I did it. And so it honestly was a very challenging first 6 months. My own brother didn't use me. I love you, Jordan, but sorry, my own brother didn't use me. Because it's very challenging to go from Mike the bar owner to Mike the real estate guy. And when it's something that you're known for and you're good at, to all of a sudden thinking that network is going to trust you and think that you have the expertise and the knowledge in a completely different industry was challenging. And so it really took 6 to 8 months for me to really get my footing in the industry. I was very fortunate. One of my first 10 deals happened to be a $7 million transaction from a relationship from my bar network. I got a Facebook DM one day, and a friend of mine was like, hey, my friend's moving to Austin. I think you're in real estate now. And that truly, not only did it put me on the map, but it gave me the confidence. I had imposter syndrome like crazy. And I didn't want to go to networking events, which now I live for them, because I was so terrified that, maybe someone like yourself was going to ask me a question or something that I felt like I couldn't answer, or I was embarrassed to not know. And so that transaction is truly what gave me the confidence to go to these events and to really start putting my name out there. And perception is reality in this industry, and people see and believe what they want to on social media. And so this is not what you see on Bravo. This is not selling sunset. Real estate is a grind, but that really did open the doors for me, and things started to snowball, because once people saw that, oh my God, Mike did a transaction like this, he can help me with whatever I'm doing. And I, that first year I got nominated for Rookie of the Year because of that. And it really snowballed after that. And so that was kind of like what got me rolling. But it was a lot of gritty things behind the scenes.
So we didn't talk. We talked about so much personal stuff. Awesome. We had an awesome conversation the other day, but we didn't talk about the origin story behind the Landry, or is it the
Landy, Landy
Land
Frost Group. He gets it
Landy?
all. He gets it all the time. It's yeah. Tim Landy is my business partner.
Okay, so we didn't talk about you and Tim. We didn't talk about how that got started. So what's the origin story behind Landy Frost Group? Frost Group.
Man, that's funny. So Tim and I actually met when in the bar industry. In 2008, Tim moved here from St. Louis. He was a beer rep for Anheuser-Busch, obviously pretty big in St. Louis, and he got moved to Austin. And we got linked up through that. And so, Tim used to support a lot of my events through, he moved on to a Constellation brand after Anheuser-Busch. And so we did a lot of events together and whatnot. And Tim got into real estate back in 2012, 2013. And, obviously we stayed very close during that time. I had been friends with Tim's wife even before I met Tim. And so, it was when I sold my bars and was wondering what was next for me, Tim was one of those people that I reached out and was like, hey, I'm thinking about real estate. And I'd actually met with one of my previous, the managers or owners, at the bars, who trained me in everything that I knew in that industry. He had sold the bars and got into the industry at the time. And I had reached out to him. It's like, hey, I'm going to get into real estate. I had dinner with him and his wife that night, and he was like, I'd love to start a team and have you on my team. The next day I called Tim and I said, hey, I don't know anything about real estate, but I'm thinking about it. Can we grab coffee? By the end of that meeting, Tim was like, I'd love to mentor you as well. And, we started off just as he was my mentor. And for 3 years, Tim tried to convince me to do a team. And because of that imposter syndrome and wasn't sure that I was quite ready, the second year that Tim and I were working together, I was in need of an assistant, so was he. And so we actually brought on my sister, who were 11 years apart. She was a marketing manager at Remax office up in Cedar Park. And the best thing that's ever happened to my career. I give her so much credit. She is the best in the industry. She's actually up for Young Professional of the Year this year with Platinum Top 50. And now is a partner with Tim and I. And so once we had Callie, she really started creating these systems and organization, the things that I'm really not good at. I'm good with people and growing network and being the face of things. But Callie is incredible with the organization. And after 2 or 3 years, Tim and Callie convinced me that it was the right time to start the team. And pretty wild timing to start during the greatest rush of real estate in Austin, in 2020. And we were incredibly fortunate. In our first year, we did 189 transactions. And, we had 2 of the 3 nominees for ABOR Rookie of the Year. Between those 2 rookies, they did $55 million in real estate. We were, our first year of real estate, we were recognized by Austin Business Journal as one of the top 10 teams in the country, in the city.
Man, we need to take a lesson or two on PR work from you guys because that part of it, like the recognition is there, the production's there, but lots of people have production with zero recognition. So you're doing something right there. Of course, you talk about network all the time. When I dug in a little bit and was looking at like reviews and what do your customers say, what's the experience like if I were your client? One thing that everybody talked about your clients was how consistent your systems are and how dialed in your culture is. So I just wanted to see if there's any like values or processes that you guys are working, like consciously working on, or if that's something natural that has had you guys stand out in that regard.
It's a great question. To be honest, when we had our first year and we saw that type of success, I think we thought that we had something very special going on. And truthfully, I think we have the right mindset and the right mentality where we always put the client first, and we're always trying to build better systems and better processes for not only the team, but for our clients. But the best thing that happened to us was after those 2 agents did $55 million, the next 3 agents we brought on are no longer even in real estate. And that may sound like, how could you think that was the best thing that happened? But it humbled us. And we actually joined the Tom Ferry coaching program. And we completely tore down everything that we had. And we started from scratch. And we really wanted to find out, who are we as leaders and who is the right people for our team. And we don't deviate from that at all. And so we have probably one of the most challenging interview processes to even join our team, because culture is absolutely everything. I do not care if you're a $20 million producer. If you are not in it for the right reasons or not going to be a great fit for our team, this isn't, for anybody that runs a team or even maybe a brokerage knows, this is not you're not making millions of dollars like people may think and believe. What happens, we really enjoy the mentorship and the people and their families and whatnot. And that's what's most important to us. And we're not willing to jeopardize that just for some production if they're not the right people. And so, it's really building the proper foundation so that you can be the right people and have the right support and the right systems for those people. And that's why we love it. We just 2 weeks ago, we had our team Thanksgiving and hired a private chef and had all of the partners over here as well, as not just our agents, because when you do life together, it makes this such a more enjoyable experience and so much more rewarding.
So the team sounds amazing. We didn't talk about that at our breakfast either, and we should have got into it because I would have had more to ask on that topic. But just looking at it from a high level now with you, every strong team has some early challenges or growing pains that shapes things moving forward after it. You talk about coaching. Was there any other moment for you that was kind of like, maybe taking an early loss or some early struggle that has shaped what you guys are today?
I think what's interesting being a coach is understanding that not, everybody has the same goal. Like, I am pretty psychotic when it comes to I have no problem working 60, 70 hours a week. And, I may want to do more and more every year, but that's not what every agent wants to do. And it's really becoming the coach for everybody. And, we now there's in total almost 10 of us, and everybody has a different goal in life. And just because I have an agent on my team that I may think can hit 20 to 30 million, if their goal is to hit 10 million and live a very fulfilled life with travel and friends and family and not have this crazy schedule, then I need to be the best coach for them with that mindset. And it was really diving into that with our coach and within Tom Ferry of finding out how to be the best coach for everybody on the team. And that's very different for everybody. And so that was hard for me because I always strive for the best. And I saw some people on the team that had, I thought, so much more potential. And I maybe pushed them that almost wanted them to get out of real estate because that wasn't their goal or their path. And so I think, being able to adapt and be the best coach for each individual, it was a struggle for me. And without naming names, there were some agents on the team that maybe we butted heads a little bit in the beginning, but it was the best thing for me to go through that, to realize that I actually needed to change. It wasn't them that needed to change, and I needed to be able to adapt with each agent that we had, which was a bit of a struggle. And so
That's cool.
It's not always perfect, that is for sure in this industry.
Okay. So let's talk about something that you're known for on a completely different level. Frosty Gives Back.
Sure.
How did this whole initiative start for you?
So when we had the bars, we used to do a lot with Austin Make-A-Wish. We had partnered with a guy that did a lot of Chicago sporting events, and we always found ways to give back. So we, every Chicago sporting event we did, we donated a portion of our sales back to Austin Make-A-Wish. And so when I got out of the bar industry and got into real estate, my broker at the time was like, "What did you do to become so successful in the bar industry?" And, a lot of that was events. A lot of that was getting my name out there and networking. And so he's like, "Great, let's do it in real estate." And, it was very easy to do in the bar industry because I had every relationship that you could possibly need. But, getting into real estate, I did not have all of those connections. I wasn't doing a ton of deals, so I didn't have all the lender relationships or the title companies or insurance or God knows who else that wants to support my event. And so he was like, "Let's just do it." And so my first year in real estate, I used a lot of the relationships I had in the bar industry, and I just wanted to give back to kids. My background is psychology and human services when I was in college. and I really wanted to do a lot to just kind of make Christmas better for some underprivileged kids. And as I learned more and got into it, I realized that like the biggest need is truly, financial need for a lot of these nonprofits. And so, when I first started out, I did multiple different organizations to try to spread the wealth, but realized pretty early on that wasn't creating a big enough impact. So year one was, I did it at a bar downtown because they gave me a free venue. They gave me a portion of sales. And year one, I had like $5,500 in sponsorship, and we raised like $16,000. Now I've raised over $500,000, and I have over $120,000 in sponsorship this year. And so it's been a passion project. It's really been, for the most part, my sister and I, the guys at 12 Rivers, Paul and Kevin, were a huge part of me growing this. And, we've had some huge DJs throughout the years to be part of this, but now it has really become more of like a gala style. And now my fiance is, who's a corporate event planner, is really taking this event to the next level. And obviously very excited where it's at. I think we're going to raise, my goal is $200,000 this year. And so it didn't happen overnight. I'm very blessed to have a network that not only supports me, but, the initiatives that we're behind. And, it's not just a great way to raise awareness and a lot of money for charities. It's also, we like to have a great time. And so this is an incredible Christmas event for anybody that wants to come. It is open to the public. It is a ticket event, but we try to make this as fun of an evening as possible, to dress up, raise money, and look forward to it every single year.
We'll put some links. We'll put some links for tickets and donations and stuff in the show notes.
Okay.
Looking back over the past few years, has there been a moment or a story of impact, or something like where you got a little bit closer to your contribution that has really stuck with you? Do you get that type of visibility, seeing where y'all's contribution goes, and anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I told you when we were together about this story. So one of the first years that I ever worked with, our main organization we work with is LifeWorks. Their whole goal is to eradicate youth homelessness here in Austin. They're breaking ground on their Works 3, which is going to provide over another 120 units for Austin's youth that are, struggling with homelessness and whatnot. And but one of the things that they do throughout the year is called the Home Improvement Challenge. And in that time, you go and you interview an individual. Ours so happened to be a 19-year-old woman that had a young child that, I'm talking, Corbin, there wasn't zero furniture in this house. There was nothing, and it was literally a vacant apartment, and there was basically just a mattress on the floor that had every color of the rainbow on it. And there was a baby in diapers that was eating off a McDonald's wrapper. Like, that's how vividly I remember that moment. And we essentially put them in a hotel for 24 hours. And with the help of the community and donations and everything, we fully furnished this, from not only furniture and art and TVs and clothes, but food and plates and everything you can think of to just survive. And, maybe you and I would think that she's going to be excited about a bed or a crib or a couch, a television, whatever that might be, clothes. And it was, I get, even now, like as I'm telling you the story, I get goosebumps, because when she came in, she had a friend with her, and she was going through the house, like the things that I thought she would be most excited about, it wasn't that. It was like, I vividly remember it was having a pot to warm up formula that is what made her cry. And so seeing that firsthand, of the things that you and I may take for granted every single day, that was such a luxury for her, man, it hit me so hard. And it was like, how do I do more for people to, all I wanted was to see more of that and to be able to give people that feeling. And man, I've had numerous people from the LifeWorks organization come up to me and be like, because of you, I'm the first person in my family to go to college, or, kind of get over that generational hump that has been very challenging for them to get, get out of their own way. And it's to see the impact that has made. Man, I can't tell you what it's done for me, just on a human level, because everybody deserves a chance. And I think homelessness is, especially in a city like Austin, can be such a challenging conversation, right? I think it's quite interesting to go from my previous career when Dealing with homeless was a challenge, owning bars on 6th Street, right? That was almost a daily challenge. And for today to be in real estate and that to be like my biggest focus and area of support, we're all just people, man. And whatever cards were dealt, we do the best that we can. And so, my message this year is just that. It's like, I don't care who you are, where you come from, what you believe in, who you love, what side of politics you're on. At the end of the day, we're all people. And for people to come together and we get 400 people in a room to raise over $100,000 for whether it's something you believe in or if you're there for me or whatever it is, to even have a good time. I'm just so grateful that people come together in this community, from sponsors and donors to everybody that buys a ticket. I can't tell you what it makes me feel like, man.
Yeah, dude, so awesome. I had
Crying
more.
every year on my speech in front of 400 people. I don't even know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah, you almost got me there for a sec with
Yeah,
the pot to warm the formula story. And I
it's
had more
it's
questions. I had more questions for you on it, but I think it's best if we leave it right there because that
sure.
that is very, very cool. Um, okay, so let's get into the market because everybody wants to hear your take on this.
Sure.
How would you describe the Central Texas real estate market right now?
I think it's been incredibly challenging. The last 3 years, there's been so many hurdles. I think Austin, we're always the first one. Excuse me, the last one in and the first one out, and we were the first one in this time. And 3 years later, we're still in it. And I think it's very challenging because we were literally the hottest market in the entire country. Like, we saw the greatest appreciation of any city, and to go from, in every single thing that you saw online of the best place to live, the best place for singles, the best place for new companies to move, the best place for appreciation, we were the golden child. And then all of a sudden, now we are the #1 buyer's market in the entire country. It has been incredible for the psychology of buyers and sellers. Sellers, 3 years later, are still unrealistic to where listings are at. I mean, if you look at original list price to sold price, it just shows you how unrealistic we are. With almost a 7% discount in Austin, we're still not there as far as sellers realizing where we're at. And then on the buy side of things, most buyers think that it's realistic that we're going to see interest rates in the 3s and 4s again, which, as you know, that is not historically where rates normally lie. And so, we've had this uncertainty of, last year it was who's going to be in office. And then it was the Fed talking about all the cuts. And then, is Austin crashing? And we end the year last year, relatively flat in my world. I would say, we finished less than 2% down. We knew who was in office. The Fed wasn't talking about any cuts. And I thought we were going to start 25 kind of like rallying and starting to do better. And, as you know, March hit and we have been unsettled since March. And I think there's a lot of people that are hopeful that 26 is going to bring an entirely different market. And I'm a little bit more cautious in how I believe, what I believe. I think that, we still have over 15,000 active listings. That doesn't include the off markets that we have. In the last 90 days, we've had over 5,000 single family homes withdrawn or expire from the market. I think a lot of that has to do with obviously things are not selling. People don't want to sell at a number that they're not comfortable with, which I think we all know that everybody waits for the spring market to hit. I think that we will see rate relief here to start 2026, excuse me. And I think that we're going to see a pretty big influx of inventory hit the market in the spring. And we're going to be in this same situation that we've been in of supply and demand. And I think we're going to have a lot of inventory hitting the market in the spring that, although I think we'll see significantly more activity, I think we're quite a ways away from seeing prices increase and things like that. And so, I know everyone wants to think that 26 is going to be this banner year, but I do think that this is going to be a slow process to get back to the historical market of 6 to 8% appreciation year over year. And, sellers rule in the world. I think that we're in this buyer's market for a little bit personally.
You're touching on something. So like we obviously want to work with buyers. That's how we get home loans. The buyer is our client. But just looking into the market as a team saying, all right, we can we can try to tell people about really cool loan products, or we can try to have really good pricing and low interest rates. But if we look at what's the actual problem is, we feel like that the problem is the listing itself or the seller essentially. And so we've been helping more and more with listings and really digging in, saying, okay, what's it going to take to sell this property? If our problem is selling a property, from your perspective, what is it that sellers continue to get wrong about the current environment?
Great question. I think the mindset that, oh, we're going to start here and we'll just do this slow burn, and if the house is worth $1 million, we're willing to sell it at like 950 or 925, but like we want to start at $1 million and test out the market. So we'll just do, slowly drop and we'll get to the number that we want to get to. That's not the case. Buyers have experienced so much pain in Austin because we've been a seller's market for so long that they are going for blood, and people are looking for days on market. They are looking for the price drops. So if you should have been listed at 950 and you still wanted to start at $1 million, by the time that you get to 950, you're never getting that offer in at 950. You're getting it significantly lower because people want to see how much pain you're in. People want to see how desperate you are. And it's never been more important, and at least in my, I've only been doing this for almost 9 years. Like, I've never experienced a market like this, and so to me, it's never been more important to price appropriately. This is not the market to try to stretch pricing. Price it the right way. Make sure that the home looks incredible from the moment you list it, because when you have this much inventory, like, I hate saying it, I'm just gonna be 100% real with you. I call this like the Tinder market, where like if it doesn't catch my attention immediately, I'm just on to the next. It's like, 2020, 2021, even beginning of 22, like you take hours to make a decision on a house. Today, you could see a house and 2 weeks, a month later, it's most likely still sitting on the market. There's no sense of urgency for buyers. And so you have to create that scarcity mindset for a buyer. When you're getting your house ready, it has to look perfect. It has to be priced right, which is why you're starting to see some of these crazy auctions, which I'm not sure how much you guys are seeing in your market. I know you work pretty heavily in the Bastrop County, but we're seeing some stuff in in the bigger zip codes like 78704. You're seeing $3.5 million houses being listed at 800,000 because they want to get more. They're not selling for that, but they're doing it to get more eyes on the property. And so it's just wild at the psychology of that, but it's actually ending up getting the price at a sold price where they originally should have listed at, because a buyer gets.
I like it, bro. I like it.
I think that Trek will make some pretty significant changes, because I can't tell you like how many buyers have messaged me about some of these listings, and hearing like the feedback from some of the agents. They're having 400 people reach out to them about these listings and getting 50 offers on these houses.
Dude.
And you have people submitting an offer at $1 million when this is clearly a $3.5 million house. And so I think that Trek is probably going to have a little bit, or ABOR is going to have an issue with a little bit of, is it deceptive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think people are just trying to do the best that they can in this market, and they're trying to get these houses sold any way that they can.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll go to the other side of that then. What do you see as, from your perspective, so that's sellers, what do you see as the real opportunity right now? So like where is the opportunity in real estate?
It really depends on what your situation is. I think that the opportunity, it depends on how long term you plan on being in Austin. I think that people, if you plan on planting roots here, I do think that there is an incredible opportunity to go out and get an extreme discount on something. And I think, I get where buyers are coming from. They want to see rates lower, but I would much rather get a house 10% under asking rather than wait for rates to come down and save myself a couple $100 a month. So if you plan on being here a long time, I think that you can go out and really steal something. I think if you're open to new construction, that is the absolute best opportunity. Some of the new construction deals that I've gotten, people, we work with all price points. Everything from, we recently had a $350,000 transaction, and we recently had a $15 million transaction. And so the new construction opportunities for like the production builders are pretty incredible. I just got someone $100,000 off a new construction community. They are locked in, I'm sorry, Corbin, at a 3.5% interest rate, and they had all of their closing costs covered, and they got fridge, washer, dryer, blinds, and I got 5%.
What was the address on that one? Or can you
It was
say?
in Dripping Springs.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I want that deal too. I'm just telling you flat out, I'm telling all my clients, full disclosure, if I get 100K off and 3.99% interest rate, I don't care how much I like my loan officer.
I mean, it's the same. Like, I mean, I would, you know, if they didn't want to work, you know, I think that every buyer should still have representation in new construction, but like, how do you pass that up? And so,
Yeah.
like, I had, you know, my guy was not ready to move until Q1 at the earliest when we were going to start looking. And when this presented itself, I'm like, I'm not the agent to push you into things. I think that, like, I always think it's better to go at the client's speed. Unless I think it's just like a really great opportunity. And I was like, look, I know we don't even have your house close to ready to list that you currently live in, but this is too good of a deal to pass up. Like, I don't think that you're ever going to see 3.5% interest rates ever again, unless something catastrophic has happened.
Yeah.
And so, you know, these builders do not want to take this inventory into 2026. And so if you are interested in new construction, this is absolutely the best time of year. Take away what's even happening in our market today. Like, buying at the end of you know, Q4 with new construction, you can steal properties. And so, you know, that's obviously not for everybody and what they're looking for, but if you are, I think those are probably the greatest opportunities in the market.
Yeah, I agree. And there's nothing we can do about it as a lender. The best that we have done in that area, we think that new construction is a huge opportunity if it's available in, you know, whatever area someone wants to live. Obviously, people want to be close to family, close to work and stuff like that. But if there's new construction in the area, we agree. So we've just started partnering with smaller builders that don't have crazy incentives on their properties and just showing them the competition, you know, showing them the deals that you're talking about. Like, hey, look, man, this house 4 houses away from you is offering a promotional interest rate and a ton of money back and incentives. And your property, I understand you only build a few each year, but yours doesn't have anything on it. Which one of these houses do you think is going to sell first? Right. And so we're trying to help them package it just the same way. Like, your guys that property already had it figured out, but some don't.
Well, I'll tell you this, and you know, if you like working with Corbin, there are a lot of builders right now that will still allow you to work with your preferred lender and still give you the incentive. So do not be afraid to push back and work with your guy Corbin on those deals, because it is still a possibility to get that deal done with someone like yourself. You don't necessarily have to go work with their big production lender.
That's nice of you to do. I wish we're not really that nice when we package the deal. We do make sure that, you know, it's to get the incentives, they have to work through us. But, you know, that's part of the service of us packaging this whole deal up for a builder and helping them market the property and hustling the house for them. And so, Mike, as you're looking ahead, what is next for you, for Frosty Gives Back, for the Landy Frost Group over the next few years?
You know, as far as the team, we are growing. You know, we actually are interviewing for the first time. We've actually put something out that we are hiring. Typically, people come to us, and you know, it's been a great first year at Compass, and so we, you know, have a lot of tools and assistants over there to grow. We're bringing on we already have a director of ops and assistant. We're bringing on another one, and so we are looking to grow a little bit. You know, we never want to be a mega team. Like, we're not about bodies. We're about people, and so we're going to grow slow. We're going to bring on the right people, but you know, we would like to bring on a few more people. So that's for the team. We want to see that. We want to see everybody grow. I want to see more of my team do more community events like I do. We've had multiple of our agents do spin-offs of events like Frosty Gives Back, and so to see them give back to the community and them have that buy-in, you know, for me, that's means to me more personally than to see them, you know, maybe hit a sales goal, because I think, you know, what it can do for you as a person, what it can do for your branding, what it can do for your career, and what it can do for the community. It means so much more than transactions. So that's the team. Frosty Gives Back is funny. Every single year I'm like, do I do this again? Because I can't. I know you're starting to do your events as well, and as you probably know, there's so much that goes behind the scenes. Like, people have no idea, you know, when you're throwing $100,000 charity event, like from raising money to collecting hundreds of silent auction items to like putting a committee together that's going to do it, just for out of the goodness of their heart. Like, I typically don't work in November and December because I put so much into this event. And so for years I've been talking about turning this into its own nonprofit, to actually maybe have a hireable committee. And I'm very blessed, man, to have now people fighting over my title sponsors, where this year I got $40,000 as a title sponsor. I struggled to get $1,500 just 9 years ago. And so to see the growth that it's had, to see the impact that it has, all I want to do is make a greater impact in the community. And I'd love to raise more awareness for other organizations. I really would love to help, as you and I met one time, and I'd be more than happy to sit down and see any way I can help you grow your event. I love what this does for agents and for the community, and I'd like to help mentor people with that. It brings a lot of passion into my life for that. Other than building my network and giving back, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. There's no like financial breaks or anything like that. It's just something I am passionate about. And then, I got to find some time to find some balance in my life. And I do a lot of go 100 miles an hour, and just being around people kind of fills my cup. And this job doesn't always feel like work, which makes me work some insane hours. So I got to find a little bit more balance for my own personal life.
Well, I hope you find it. Based on your track record of succeeding at what you're working on, I have a feeling you'll succeed in that. And this will wrap us up for today. And this one's for agents listening who, want something actionable that they could do right now. So what's one thing what's one thing that an agent should focus on this week that would move their business forward based on this market right now in Central Texas?
Man, we just got done with our business planning with our agents, and I think so many people get caught up with the shiny objects and this industry of seeing the competition of like comparing yourself to everybody else is so ridiculous. Like, I don't care what any other agent does. I do not care about what their sales volume are. I do not care what their accolades are. Like, at the end of the day, no one's going to remember how much sales you did in 1 year. Like, what people are going to remember is how did you treat them? How did you show up for them? And like, that's what matters the most. And so, I think focusing on the things that you really enjoy doing and that you're actually going to do, because if you consistently show up and if you consistently do the basics, you're better than 75% of the agents in this industry. And so really narrow the focus, figure out the things that you're passionate about doing, and do those every single day, and do them at a level that you can go out and you can teach a class about it. And remember that perception is reality. Make yourself look like the expert, and also become a student of the game so that you are the expert. So when those clients come to you and they ask, well, why is the market the way it is, that you can truly speak about it and really partner yourself with people like yourself that are willing to give, your time, your resources, and your expertise, so that you build out a team, so you have a team of experts and people that you can lean on. So you don't have to know the answers to everything. You can have people like Corbin in your life, or other title companies or insurance, so that you're just a resource for everybody. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. You can just be a resource for any client and anything that they need in life. Always be a person of service. And man, this job gets to be really fun, really enjoyable. Like, my cup is overflowed at all times. Like, I'm working with the people that I want to work with, in the areas that I want to work with, in the price points that I want to work with. And like, I've been invited to 11 client weddings in 9 years, man. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. And like, when you go at it with that mindset, like, this job becomes really fun. I don't want to say easy, because it's a lot of hard work, but like, the success comes with that when you put everybody above yourself. And it's just this, I don't do anything special, man. I just put people first, and I love it.
Yeah, I really get that from you right away. And within 15 minutes, I was like, man, this guy is a living example of serving. It's like you contributed so much to me, and you just flipped a switch, and it was like contribute to Corbin mode. And I was like, there's no question, this is the reason Mike is where he is today. And it doesn't even seem like you care to look at that. You're just doing it. That's just what you like to do. So, anybody in the Austin market that's looking for a realtor that is looking for ways to serve them just because it's what they enjoy, definitely recommend Mike Frost to you and his team. Mike, this has been awesome. I want to thank you again for being here. I want to thank you for everything that you're doing for our community. And thanks for being such an incredible contribution.
I appreciate it, Corbin. Thanks for having me on here. And also, because you've given me so much love, why don't you tell everybody about your event and how we can help support you?
Oh gosh, I guess this is the first that we're mentioning it. So the Eventbrite is live, so you can sign up for the event. We'll do a post on it. Yeah, we'll put a link in here. But we're doing a toy drive in Bastrop County, and we're going to host an event on December 12th, and we'll include some details in the show notes. We're just trying to make sure that we can make Christmas a little bit better this year for some kids in Bastrop County. We're collecting toys for another drive put together by BISD. So we're going to take the toys from our event right over to them, and we'll keep everybody updated on results and impact there. And this is our first event, so we'll see how it goes. Of course, anything that anybody wants to do, we really appreciate, and just hope that we can make it better for one family. Maybe end up with one story like the one that you told Mike. That would be amazing. So thanks.
About this? I will match the first $500 if anybody wants to put that in towards the event, and you can use that to go buy some toys. Whether you want to do that at Target or Amazon or whatever you want to do, I'll put $500 towards it.
You're crazy, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Send me the memo and I'll send it over today.
You're crazy, dude. Thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate it, man. That's amazing.
All right.
Thanks so much for
all the
coming on.
best. Thank you for your time today.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon.
Take care, man. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.